folks, this is the Mrs. Volpe from Our Half Acre Homestead. Today I'm going to teach you how to make an emergency candle. And you can do it in minutes. It's hard to believe that any of us would be without candles in the event of a power outage, but sometimes things just go wrong. I learned this out of a Little House on the Prairie book called The Long Winter, where they were trapped on the prairie. The whole town was trapped because the trains couldn't get through because of blizzard after blizzard, and the town ran out of coal, and they ran out of kerosene, and they ran out of candles. So there was nothing for anybody to burn unless they burned hay, and they had to make do for light. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some cotton muslin, and it has to be cotton. You're going to need a quarter. You're going to need a piece of tin foil. You're going to need a saucer, and you're going to need a twist tie, and any kind of grease that will burn. For this demonstration I'm using lard, but in the book Laura Ingalls' mom used axle grease, and she called this a button lamp. Lamps used to be nothing more than a stone saucer with a wick hanging out the side. Anyway, this is how we're going to do it. Okay, what I have here, in the book Laura Ingalls' mom used axle grease. She said if I had any kind of grease I could make a lamp. Well, here's some lard. Now you want it in a shallow dish, because what will happen is it will melt the lard or the grease and it will go down in, and that you don't want that to happen. And we have a shallow saucer of lard. You may want to try Vaseline or axle grease or any kind of grease that, you never know. We have a square of cotton muslin. Let's just make sure that's square, and it has to be cotton, because if there's a polyester blend in it, folks, it won't work. It'll just melt. All right, a common twist tie, a piece of tin foil. Now of course, folks, I have modified this. Okay, she used thread, a button, and a piece of calico. Well, I'm improvising to make things hopefully a little safer. Now, the reason I'm using a quarter and not something smaller is because you want it to have a wide enough surface that it's not going to float, but it is going to not sink very readily. Now, you want to draw your cotton muslin up around the corner, or quarter, nice and straight, and then we're just going to tighten this twist tie as much as possible. Twist ties are a wonderful thing, folks. Never throw them away. Twist ties, most of you will know, are one of those things that are like duct tape. It's an immediate repair thing. Now that's a pretty big wick, so we're going to trim it like this. Whoops, we don't want that in there. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to coat this in the grease so that the actual grease burns, not the cloth. Okay, you're going to get some burning of the cloth. Now I'm going to do something that Laura Ingalls' mom didn't do. But of course, I don't think she had tin foil back there in the 1800s. So now we're just going to take a piece of tin foil and we're going to roll it up. Now basically what all this is a guard for the wick. And we're just going to kind of wrap this around the wick just like that. It's pretty much just a little flame guard. Now the principle of this is that the cloth is coated, and it's going to draw the grease up as it melts through the wick and make a light, and the tin foil stops it from falling down into the grease. Now let's just see how our it's called a button lamp, or an oil lamp, I guess. It's not a kerosene lamp, that much I know. I think that looks pretty cool. Now again, folks, never leave an open flame unattended, and I don't know how long this would last, but it would get you from room to room. That's working really well. I already did one to test it, and it burnt for a while. You may want to trim your wick. It'll be a bit smoky. Well, it makes a pretty, if you don't have light, that'll do it. Anyway, this is the Mrs. Volpe from Our Half Acre Homestead saying, hey, who'da thunk it?